So yeah, you've probably seen a lot of different Claude skills going around. It's been very popular recently. And to simply explain it, it's basically just a series of steps or tools that is nicely bundled for ClaudeCode to use without you having to re-explain it each time. It can be pretty robust or it can be pretty small. One thing that I've been seeing on X recently is the Remotion skill, which allows you to make high quality professional videos very easily with just simply installing one skill. I have never personally used Remotion before, but I have an app right here called IOBS. Basically allows you to stream your iPhone and mic straight to OBS. Here's just the homepage. I've been wanting to make a video for this. Again, I understand Remotion, but I have no idea about the process of actually setting up a Remotion project, what version I need, and what context Claude needs to actually effectively do this. Luckily, because they have this skill, the creators of Remotion have made it really easy to just download the skill and get up and running. So I'm going to test it right now. I have my code base for the app you were just looking at. I'm going to get the path locally on my computer and copy it. And then I'm going to go to this new empty project, which is just a empty project that I have installed. You can see here the Remotion best practices skill, but this gives it all it needs to know about how to produce the videos. I don't need to know what packages I need to set up or install. So I'm going to start with adding the directory to that project you were just looking at. Reason why I'm doing this is because this will allow it to have context to my project. I don't need to tell it what the project is, how it functions, how it works. It's going to just go look inside of the code base and determine what is the core function of the app. And then all I'm going to tell it is I'm going to use this skill and say, create me a 15-second promo video for my app, IOBS. And just giving it this one sentence, I'm really curious what it creates. So I'm going to fire this off, imagining it's going to take a little while to run. So after waiting a few minutes, it did actually just make a video. What tends to happen without skills is I would have like a back and forth. There would be build errors. It would be me trying to find the right combination of prompt or providing context to Claude to get it to one-shot it. However, with skills, you'll see that it just created the video without me having to dog walk it through the process. I haven't personally watched the video yet, but the fact that I'm seeing any video is pretty promising. So let's take a watch. And this is actually pretty consistent with the style that I have. Because I gave it access to my project, it seems like it pulled a lot of the styles that I have in the app. And I think with some more pointed prompting from this point, I can make a pretty polished video, although I think that was pretty good. So it's super easy to install a skill in Claude, or for that matter, any real coding agent. Skill is kind of a general standard that any coding agent supports, or most of them, the good ones do. And to install Remotion Skill, for instance, they have their website. You just run this npx command, you copy it, you paste it, and you'll kind of see what I mean. It'll go through, it'll ask you a series of questions. So these are all different coding agents, or rather like coding IDEs. And I'm just going to select ClaudeCode because that's the only one I care about. But obviously, if you have multiple, you can select one or the one that you prefer. And you can choose to install it either globally or locally in the project that you're currently in. I'm going to install it for globally because I'm probably going to want to use this several different places. And I'm just going to symlink it, meaning that all references to this is just going to be linked to one copy of it. And it's not going to create multiple copies of it. And I can just hit proceed. It installs it, gives me a link actually to the skills and what it actually looks like. So you might be thinking that skills are this really complex, hard thing to set up, but it really isn't that. Skills are designed to be in a way to where like you don't necessarily need to be a technical developer to create these. That's kind of the beauty of it, is it removes that barrier of entry. So to show you the actual code that's going into these skills, you can think of, at least for the Remotion skill, it is like a giant dictionary of definitions, of best practices, of ways to do things in Remotion. So your coding agent doesn't have to like fumble in the dark or do lots of web searches or use different MCP plugins to get context on how to do things. And whenever you install what we just installed, there's a skills.md file, and this is the entry point to your skill. Every skill has this skill.md file. You tend to want to keep this really high level. It's like a table of contents. Some skills that are really bare bones, all of this stuff will be here, but you can see for Remotion, it has quite a bit of things that it explains to Claude or whatever coding agent you're using. It has stuff about 3D, about how to handle animations, assets, animated GIFs. And rather than me having to, hey, go and look up the documentation on how you use GIFs, or me running into an error while I'm building, it's all going to have this context and it shortcuts so many different things. There's probably ideas that you have for skills or setting up skills. And it's really as simple as just creating the skills.md, and whatever thing you find yourself doing routinely in your apps, just write it down or have your coding agent help you. And at this point, it is actually really easy to create skills. There are a lot of helpful plugins. For example, I'm going to pull up this project that I've been working on. Again, it's totally free. It's open source. I'm just using this because I use it a lot locally for my development, to look up a plugin called Plugin Dev. And this is actually just a catered skill that allows you to very easily and efficiently create skills, or all 7 of the different plugin types, which would be like hooks, MCP integrations, commands. Best part is, with a lot of this creating your own skills plugins, there's a lot of standards that are thrown around. What I find is using just some plugin that has already like shortcutted all of the research and best practices. That way you can just describe your skill and have a coding agent make it for you. I find this to just be the best approach, especially if your blocker is doing all the lookup and everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're more interested or you want to see me make a skill or MCP server, please subscribe.